Welcome, dear listener, to another story that speaks to the heart. Today we journey to the edge of the sea, to a quiet beach where waves meet the dawn, and where a young boy learns one of life's most powerful lessons. Before we begin, if you love stories that teach, inspire, and help you grow your English in a beautiful way, then please subscribe to this channel, like this video to support our work, and share it with someone who could use a little light today. Because sometimes one story is all it takes to change a life. Now, close your eyes for a moment. Listen to the sound of the waves, and let's begin. The Starfish Story. It was the kind of morning that made the world seem infinite. The sun was just beginning to peek over the horizon, spilling golden light across the quiet village. Waves kissed the shore in gentle rhythm, and the salty scent of the ocean filled the air. A young boy named Leo walked slowly along the sand, his bare feet sinking softly with every step. His eyes were wide with wonder, drinking in the endless stretch of water, the silver glitter of seashells, and the distant seabirds gliding effortlessly above. Leo had always felt a special connection to the sea, as if it were whispering secrets meant only for him. That morning, like many before it, he walked to his favorite spot at the edge of the tide. It was there that he noticed something unusual, tiny shapes scattered across the sand, struggling under the sunlight. As he drew closer, he realized they were starfish, stranded and gasping for survival as the tide receded. Leo knelt down carefully, scooping up one of the starfish in his small hands. Its spines were rough yet delicate, and it seemed to wriggle faintly, as if thanking him for noticing. The boy's heart sank. There were hundreds of starfish along the shore, each one slowly dying without the water's embrace. He looked around helplessly. "There are too many," he whispered aloud, his voice almost lost to the sea breeze. "I can't possibly save them all. It won't make a difference." Just then, an elderly man appeared, leaning on a wooden cane. His hair was white as sea foam, and his eyes sparkled with warmth. He had walked quietly along the beach, seemingly observing Leo's struggle from afar. "Good morning, young man," the old man said gently. "What troubles you so early in the day?" Leo sighed. "It's these starfish. The tide left them stranded, and so many of them are dying. I don't know what to do. I can't save them all." The old man nodded slowly, smiling as if he understood the boy's frustration. "Ah, the starfish. I know them well. But tell me, what happens if you try?" Leo frowned. "What do you mean?" "Well," the old man began, pointing toward the endless stretch of sand, "even if you cannot save them all, perhaps saving just a few matters." Leo shook his head, staring at the vast beach, dotted with helpless starfish. "It's too much. Look at all of them. Even if I work all day, I could never make a difference." The old man chuckled softly, then bent down and picked up a starfish himself. With a careful toss, he returned it to the water. The starfish seemed to breathe again, its arms slowly moving with the tide. "See?" the man said gently. "It made a difference for that one. That's what matters." Leo looked at him unsure. Could such a small act really matter? Still, something inside him stirred, a tiny spark of hope and determination. For a long while, the boy and the old man worked quietly, picking up starfish and tossing them back into the ocean. One by one, the creatures returned to the water, alive again, moving slowly yet surely under the gentle waves. Each starfish seemed to carry a message that life mattered, even in the smallest acts. By the time the sun climbed higher into the sky, Leo was exhausted. His hands were raw from carrying the starfish, and his feet were coated with sand. Yet he felt something he had never felt before, a profound sense of purpose. Even though hundreds of starfish still lay scattered along the shore, the boy understood something deeply important. Saving one mattered. Saving one was enough. He turned to the old man, who smiled at him knowingly. "Remember this, Leo," he said. "You may not change the world all at once, but the world you touch will always change because of you." Leo nodded, feeling a warmth bloom inside him. For the first time, he realized that even small actions, small kindnesses, could ripple outward in ways he might never fully see. And so the boy continued along the morning tide, one starfish at a time, learning the quiet, powerful truth that would stay with him forever. Even the smallest act of compassion can make a difference in a vast, seemingly endless world. The tide had begun to rise, carrying with it the gentle hum of waves rolling onto the sand. Leo walked along the shoreline, his small hands still sticky with salt, cradling the starfish he had saved. Every step he took, he noticed something new. A piece of driftwood shaped like a tiny boat, seashells arranged as if someone had left messages, and the subtle footprints of birds dancing across the wet sand. The old man followed him, shuffling slowly but steadily. "Do you know why the sea leaves the starfish here?" he asked. Leo shook his head. "No, I thought it was just the tide." The man smiled. "Yes, the tide brings them, but the tide also tests them. Life is like that too, Leo. Sometimes we are left stranded, struggling, unsure if anyone will help. But even a small hand reaching out can save a life." Leo considered this. "So, even if I can't save them all, I can at least save some?" "Exactly," the man said. "And sometimes saving one is all the universe asks of you." Leo bent down, lifting a starfish whose arms had curled in despair. He felt its tiny body pulse with life. He walked closer to the water and with careful aim tossed it back into the waves. The creature's arms stretched and twisted as it was carried gently into the deep. Leo smiled, feeling a warmth he had never known. Around him, more children from the village began to appear, drawn by the spectacle of the tide. Some brought buckets, others carried small nets. They did not yet understand the meaning of their actions, but soon they were scooping up the stranded starfish and tossing them into the waves. Leo noticed a girl, not much older than he was, struggling to pick up a particularly large starfish. He ran over to help her, and together they managed to lift it and set it free. The girl's eyes shone with pride and joy. "See," Leo whispered to himself, "even together we can make a difference." The old man watched quietly, leaning on his cane, a knowing smile on his face. "Sometimes, Leo, the world seems too big, too cruel, too overwhelming. But remember this: kindness, no matter how small, multiplies. One act leads to another. One heart touches another. And soon what seemed impossible becomes real." Leo paused, looking at the horizon. The sun was higher now, and the sea sparkled like 1,000 diamonds. He realized that the tide, which once seemed so frightening and uncontrollable, was also beautiful and full of promise. He picked up another starfish and tossed it into the water, then another, and another. Hours passed, and the boy did not tire. For each starfish he saved, he felt a new sense of purpose rising inside him. He understood that the world was vast, and challenges were many, but every small act of care mattered, because it created ripples far beyond what the eye could see. By midday, the beach had become alive with movement and laughter. Children, villagers, and even a few fishermen joined Leo and the old man. Together, they carried the stranded starfish back into the sea, each toss accompanied by cheers and shouts of joy. Leo turned to the old man. "I understand now," he said softly. "Even if I can't save them all, saving one, helping one, is enough. It can change a life." The man nodded. "Yes, Leo, and remember this, the world will sometimes leave you stranded too. But when someone reaches out to help, or when you reach out to help someone else, that is where life's true meaning shines." As the tide began to settle, Leo stood on the sand looking at the waves. Hundreds of starfish had been returned to the ocean that morning. He had learned a truth that could never be taken away. Even the smallest act of kindness has power. The boy smiled, feeling his heart swell with quiet pride and humility. And with the old man by his side, he realized that the journey of helping others, no matter how difficult, was also the journey of discovering himself. As the day grew warmer, the rhythm of the ocean seemed to match Leo's own heartbeat. He had never felt so alive, so purposeful. Every starfish he returned to the water reminded him of the power of a single act, a simple gesture that could mean the difference between life and death. Leo wandered further down the beach, where the sand became coarser and the waves more playful. He noticed tiny crabs darting among the rocks, and the shells glinting like jewels under the sun. For a moment, he forgot the starfish entirely, captivated by the vibrant life surrounding him. Then he saw it, a massive starfish lying still near the rocks, its arms stretched and motionless. Its body seemed too heavy for him alone. He knelt down beside it, gently touching its spiny surface. "I wish I could save you," he whispered, a lump forming in his throat. The old man appeared behind him, his cane tapping softly against the sand. "Leo," he said gently, "do not despair. Sometimes the heaviest burdens teach us the greatest lessons. Even if we cannot lift them alone, we can find a way with patience and creativity." Leo looked up, eyes wide. "But I don't know how to move it." The man smiled knowingly. "Then ask for help. The world is full of hands willing to assist. Sometimes we just have to reach out." Leo nodded. He ran back along the shoreline, gathering the children who had helped him earlier. Together, they returned to the massive starfish. With careful coordination, laughter, and encouragement, they lifted it slowly and carried it toward the water. Every child felt a surge of accomplishment and joy as the starfish finally slipped into the waves, its arms stretching gracefully. "See, Leo," the old man said, "even the impossible becomes possible when we work together. Never underestimate the power of unity and collaboration." Leo's heart swelled with pride, but he also understood something deeper. Life was full of challenges that seemed insurmountable, just like the stranded starfish. But when someone took the first step, others would follow. Kindness had a ripple effect far beyond what anyone could imagine. He continued down the beach, collecting starfish one by one, while the children and villagers worked alongside him. Their voices blended with the gentle roar of the sea, creating a melody of hope and determination. Even the fishermen, who had initially watched silently, joined in, laughing as they carried the creatures back to the water. Hours passed, and Leo felt a strange, comforting exhaustion settle over him. His hands were scraped and raw, his feet coated in sand, but his spirit had never felt lighter. Each toss of a starfish into the waves was a reminder that his actions mattered, no matter how small. As the afternoon sun began to sink, painting the sky in shades of pink and gold, Leo sat on a piece of driftwood, watching the tide reclaim the creatures they had saved. The waves carried each starfish gently, and he felt a profound sense of connection to the world around him. The old man sat beside him, silent for a moment. Then he said, "Leo, always remember this day. Even when life feels overwhelming, even when the world seems too vast, there is always something you can do. One act of kindness, one life saved, can make all the difference." Leo nodded, understanding fully now. He had begun the morning unsure if his efforts would matter, but now he knew the truth. Every small action has the power to change the world, one life at a time. He watched the waves, feeling the rhythm of the ocean echo within him. And for the first time, Leo realized that compassion was not just about helping others. It was also about discovering his own strength, courage, and purpose. The sun began its slow descent, casting long shadows across the sand. The beach was alive with movement and laughter, but for Leo, the moment had become something quieter, something almost sacred. He walked along the water's edge, noticing the tiny ripples that reflected the colors of the sky, and the gentle drift of sea foam across his feet. The old man walked beside him, silent for a time, then spoke. "Leo, do you understand why you feel so different now?" Leo thought for a moment. I think so. I feel strong and happy and like I did something important." "Exactly," the man said with a smile. "That feeling is the reward of compassion. When you help others, the world becomes brighter, not just for them, but for you as well." Leo's gaze fell on a tiny starfish struggling near a rock pool. Its arms were stiff and trembling. He picked it up gently, feeling the familiar pulse of life. "Even this little one matters," he said softly. "Yes," the old man agreed. "Every life matters. No act of kindness is ever too small. And every time you choose to help, you create ripples that reach further than you can see." Leo looked out at the horizon. The waves glistened like molten gold in the evening sun. He realized that the tide, the sand, the sea creatures, and even the people around him were all connected in ways he had never imagined. Every movement mattered. Every choice mattered. A flock of birds swooped down over the water, and Leo noticed how each of their wings seemed to catch the sunlight in perfect harmony. "It's like the world is singing," he whispered. The old man chuckled softly. "Perhaps it is, or perhaps it is your heart recognizing the harmony in life. When you act with kindness, you become part of that song." Leo continued walking, carrying the small starfish carefully in his hands. Along the way, he met other villagers who had come to see what the children were doing. Some joined in, placing starfish gently into the water. Some simply watched, quietly inspired. The boy understood something profound. Even one person's courage and compassion could inspire many others to act. He felt a connection to the world, as if the tide itself were speaking to him, saying, "Keep going, keep helping, and never doubt that your actions matter." Hours passed, and the sky deepened into soft shades of pink and purple. Leo had saved countless starfish that day, each toss into the ocean leaving him with a quiet joy he had never known. The old man rested on a driftwood log, looking out over the waves. "Leo, do you know why I brought you here today?" he asked. Leo shook his head. "Because sometimes the world needs to teach us that even small actions have great power. Life will test you, challenge you, and leave you feeling stranded. But if you choose to act, if you choose kindness, you will never be powerless. You will always create change." Leo felt tears well up in his eyes. I understand now. Even if I can't save everything, I can save something, and that is enough." The old man nodded, smiling warmly. "Yes, Leo. Remember this lesson. Carry it with you always. One act at a time, one life at a time. That is how the world changes. That is how hearts are healed. That is how hope survives." Leo looked down at the starfish in his hands. Its arms slowly unfolded, and it seemed to pulse with life once more. He felt a deep sense of connection, not just to the starfish, but to the entire world around him. The ocean, the sky, the people, and even the unseen ripples of kindness yet to come. And as the evening tide began to roll in, Leo realized that the morning had changed him forever. He had learned a simple yet profound truth. Even the smallest act of compassion can make a difference, and that difference can ripple through the world in ways you may never fully see. The evening had settled over the beach, painting the sky in hues of deep orange and violet. The tide gently lapped at the shore, carrying the last starfish safely back into the ocean. Leo sat on a smooth rock, exhausted yet profoundly content. His small hands were sticky with salt, his feet coated in sand, and his heart overflowing with something he could not quite name, a mixture of joy, pride, and wonder. The old man joined him, leaning on his cane and gazing at the endless horizon. "Leo," he said softly, "do you understand now what we learned today?" Leo nodded slowly. "Yes, I learned that even small actions matter. Even one act of kindness can change a life. And even if I can't save them all, saving one is enough." The old man smiled, his eyes glimmering with wisdom. "Exactly. You see, Leo, the world often seems too vast, too complicated, too overwhelming. But every action, every choice ripples outward. Every small effort you make carries weight, even if you cannot see the results immediately." Leo looked down at the sand, remembering the hundreds of starfish he had returned to the sea. Some had been big, some small, but each one had mattered. And more than that, he had inspired others to help. Children, villagers, fishermen. Together, their combined effort had created something far greater than he could have done alone. He turned to the old man. "I think I understand now why you brought me here. Not just to save the starfish, but to learn that even small actions can matter, that kindness can ripple through the world." The old man nodded slowly. "Yes, Leo. And remember this. Life will often leave you stranded, just like the starfish. You may face challenges that seem impossible. You may feel small and powerless. But even the smallest act of care, the tiniest bit of courage, can create change. And that change can spread farther than you ever imagine." Leo smiled, feeling the truth of the words deep in his heart. He realized that helping others was not just about saving lives, but also about discovering one's own strength, resilience, and purpose. The waves sparkled in the twilight, and Leo noticed how the light caught each ripple, creating patterns that seemed alive. He imagined the starfish moving freely in the ocean, their arms stretching gracefully, carried by the tide. A sense of peace washed over him. The old man stood, placing a hand on Leo's shoulder. "Never forget this, young one. Even the smallest starfish, even the tiniest action has meaning. And every time you choose to help, you contribute to the beauty and balance of the world." Leo took a deep breath, feeling the salty air fill his lungs. "I will remember," he whispered. The old man smiled warmly. "Good. And now go out into the world. Share this lesson with others. Live it every day. You will see that even one person's actions can create ripples that touch countless lives." As the sun finally disappeared below the horizon, Leo stood and looked at the ocean. The waves whispered softly, carrying stories of hope, courage, and life. And in that moment, he understood something profound. Compassion, kindness, and small acts of courage are never wasted. They shape the world quietly, steadily, and powerfully, one life at a time. The boy walked home along the twilight beach, the sound of the waves echoing in his heart. And though the day was ending, the lessons he had learned about empathy, action, and the ripple effect of kindness would stay with him forever.